The Alldus podcast is brought to you by Alldus International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our ServiceNow series, where we interview the best and brightest of the industry to share their story, advice, and views on the exciting world of ServiceNow and digital transformation.
Hey everybody, it's Mark Kelly, Chief Customer Officer and co-founder of Alldus. Hope you're doing really well. Part of our Alldus ServiceNow series, I'm very, very happy to welcome Jessica Vine. Jessica is Head of Go To Market for our own company focused within ServiceNow. Jessica, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Jessica, tell us a little bit about your role at own company.
Yeah, I think it probably makes a lot of sense to start with who we are, because that will explain how my role came about. So Own Company, as many of you may formerly know us as Own Backup, we're a leading SaaS data protection platform. And the company was started in 2015 when our founders realized that the same type of backup and recovery solutions that companies have invested in for their on-prem applications really should be extended to the cloud. So we're all making these investments in digital transformation, and we need to have those same protections. We got our start in the Salesforce space, where we've grown to become the #1 ISV there, ahead of companies like DocuSign. So it just shows how pervasive the need for SaaS data protection is. And over the years, our customers have asked us, what else can we do to help them protect the other investments that they're making in things like Microsoft and ServiceNow. So about a year and a half ago, I was asked to lead the charge on driving our entry into the ServiceNow market. And it's been a great adventure. So my role is doing just that, leading all things go to market, making sure that we understand customer requirements and pain points and challenges and what we're going to build to really help customers solve that.
Tell us a little bit about some of the trends that you're seeing and hearing from customers that you're interacting with, because it's an incredibly exciting time in the world of tech, but also there's a lot of question marks around security at the moment.
Yeah, so when we entered the market, and I'd say Own is the first true, all we do is backup and recovery and data protection for SaaS. This was a very new concept for ServiceNow customers. So there was a lot of education that was going on, and I think we really paved the way to start having these really important questions. And so there's a couple things that we're seeing. One revolves around our flagship solution, and that's really the business continuity aspect. And I think the main trend is that ServiceNow customers are really delighted to learn that there's additional options when it comes to backup. And the reason that is because many ServiceNow customers have already experienced some sort of data loss or corruption incident. And so the concept of having third-party backup and extending what the platform kind of offers natively and being able to retain their data for longer periods of time to safeguard their environments is really, really resonating. At the end of the day, customers really want to own their data. They, yes, you trust the vendor, yes, you trust your SI partners and your MSPs, but it's their data. They want to own it, and they know that they need to protect it. So that's one trend on the business continuity side. Another thing would be that about what we just uncovered is 60% of ServiceNow customers are regularly archiving their data. That's good. It shows that there's a need to kind of move the operational data or the stuff that's not being used off the platform. And there's a lot of reasons for doing that. But while there are native capabilities to do that, where you're archiving to an archive table on the platform, it's not really solving a lot of the challenges around performance and storage costs. So it still tends to be a big pain point. We saw that early on. So customers are just looking for better options to get data out so they can save money, they can perform their queries faster, all of that lovely stuff. And then the last thing I'd say is that as companies continue to invest in ServiceNow, they want to accelerate their development process, right? And so how do you do that? One of the ways is to test with production-like data. You want to make sure that you have the real stuff so that you're avoiding problems as you promote the data up. And one of the things we hear all the time is the clone down process can be super onerous. If you're in a really big environment where there's multiple owners over each workflow, it's a coordinated effort. And folks just really want to be able to move faster. It can be like a scary process. So how do I get subsets of production-like data if I'm the ITSM owner, the stuff that just matters to me? How do I get that into a sub-prod environment so I could do my testing for my new feature and I'm not reliant on the CSM team or the HR team coordinating this with me? So those are some things that stand out.
Yeah. And you could, because you may think that a lot of this stuff is looked after for you, but ultimately it's your data. So those companies need to take responsibility of that and be kind of a few steps ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what gets lost, and I've been with Own for about 5 years. And I remember even when I started and we started in another environment, there's a lot of education around the fact that there is a shared responsibility between the vendor, the SaaS vendor, and you as their customer. So while they're responsible for the uptime, the availability of the platform, keeping the lights on for you, we always use like renting a house analogy. So ServiceNow owns the house, you're renting it from them. Everybody needs renter's insurance. So if you start a fire in the kitchen, and that was your fault, you need to make sure that all of the things that you put into your house that burned down, that you have a way to recuperate that. So same goes for your SaaS data. The data that you're putting onto the platform is your responsibility, and data loss can happen from anything from human error, integration problems, rogue employees. There's all types of fun stories we could tell.
Yeah, because unless you've actually experienced a loss, you might be kind of thinking, it's okay, we'll get through it. But if you've got some key data that's gone missing, you can imagine the C-suite is under a significant amount of pressure.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's if they know about it. Not to mention about when they don't know about it, when they're actually told about it. And they have to come up with solutions in real time. And in some cases, you actually can't access your data back.
Yeah, because, while ServiceNow does a courtesy to their customer and allows them to, as a last resort, and that's their words, basically reach out to customer support and restore from a backup that they take, the retention of those backups only lasts 14 days. And I'm out in the field every day with ServiceNow customers, and I can tell you that I've heard countless stories of, okay, well, we ended up finding out too late. We could never get the data back. And so having that additional capability to choose how long that you retain your data is really important. Especially one of the things we also didn't talk about was, especially for regulated industries, right? Like there are reasons that there are regulations that they have to comply with, that state that you have to keep data in a worm compliant manner. So you need to have snapshots of your data that can't be changed at all for a certain period of time. Typically it's around 7 years.
Yeah, so this would predominantly probably be in financial and healthcare areas. Would probably be one of the most kind of regulated areas. So there's a real keen interest. And then there's the kind of the regulatory rights. Then you've got from an ethical perspective. So there's a variety of different ways that you can view this and kind of get ahead of it. So how do companies start to utilize your services, and how do they kind of take the next step to this? Because there might be people listening to this episode thinking we didn't have a problem, but suddenly they're actually thinking, well, actually, maybe we do, or potentially we will have.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously you can go to our website, which is owndata.com, and there's some information around ServiceNow there. And you can always reach out to me. But typically what we like to do is just get to know the customer, understand how you're using ServiceNow, how you plan to use it. A lot of customers are trying to expand their use of the platform. And I've also heard a lot that having some sort of backstop with a backup and having that protection makes them feel more comfortable to bring more business critical processes onto the platform that may have been running somewhere else. So, if you think about it in those terms, I think it's easy to see how something like this can help you move faster.
And it's really exciting because you've got the new wave of generative AI, impacting so many different modules across ServiceNow, not to mention, a variety of different other products in the ecosystem. But that also brings some new vulnerability threats that people may not be kind of cognizant of as well, that people are just kind of getting under the hood about too. So is that something you're catering for in the roadmap for that?
If you think about it as, if you have your data saved in an external environment, and it's saved in a format that you can easily restore, in the event that you were to have some sort of cyber incident or something like that, you still have a copy of your data. You can go back and get it, right? So like if you're thinking about ransomware type of things, that's really what we're solving for. What we can show a customer is, hey, today your data looked like this. We're visually showing them and giving them a comparison and saying, hey, here's what's been added. Here's what's been changed. Here's what's been deleted, all the way down to the field level. So it's really, really powerful to have those insights. And speaking about AI, another thing I actually didn't talk about that's pretty new for us is, if you think about what we're doing, Own is taking snapshots of the specified tables and environments that you back up with us on a schedule that the customer dictates. Typically it's daily. And so we have all of this data that collects over time, and there's valuable insights that you could get to with that. Like for me, for instance, as a revenue leader, like what if I wanted to know what my pipeline looked like on a certain day last year, right? How could I understand that? And with Own Backup, what we're going to enable for our customers with a solution we call Discover is the ability to tap into that and give our customers time series analytics. We're not a BI tool, we're not an analytics tool, but we want to feed the machine learning models so that you can generate insights really, really quickly. And so we're actually in beta with a few customers that are already getting value out of that.
Yeah, I could see how that insight could be very, very helpful for scheduling, propensity models, and how you can actually collect all that information just to give better insights as well. So I'm really, really excited to see how that goes. Jessica Vine, Head of Go To Market at Own, thank you very much for your time today.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.